slow down your mind, slow down these days, slow down these moments. I'm slipping away. Time, won't you wait for me? Time, she never waits. Oh, please wait for me. It's a river one way, gone in a moment, set in stone, but still in flow. We're only here for a while. Yeah, we're only here for a while. Yeah, we're only here for a while.
Okay, for those of you who were here earlier today, welcome back, I guess. If you weren't here before, then, well, this will be your first time today. Having a little trouble with my nose today, so that's the issue that I'm going to be dealing with for now, but I'm trying to get myself in the position so I can talk about what has been happening so far, what's not been happening, I guess. Just a little bit irritating for myself today, and just where the price has been going and what I've been doing in response to that. So I am frustrated that we didn't have as good a day as we've been having for the last few days. So at least at this particular point. Right now, it looks like we may be coming onto a place where we might get ourselves a little bit of a sell here from a level which seems to have been established some time ago, and this is further back here. But whether or not it's of any significance and big enough of significance to the market, I don't know. I don't have enough right now to convince me that this is an absolutely strong level. It's a level that's been here before, and on the H1 it seems to be. So it's a blue line that I've got going there on top there. And even though the price is bouncing up hard against it and still holding, this is only over a 15-minute chart right now where it's been going up and coming down. On the 5-minute chart, we can see as well quite a little bit of that action going on there. It's actually just undecided at this point. It really is kind of down the middle. If you're inclined to see it as a push down, you might see it as a push down. If you're inclined to see that it's going up, you're gonna go like it's going up. So there is technically within this very little to say that it's fully coming down, although I am, without any doubt, interested in looking for a potential sale on this. If it does break down below and start moving in that direction, it would be quite a natural thing for this market to be breathing in that direction as well. If you were following from earlier, you would probably join me in my frustration as well, in what I had called in terms of the price movement already. This is what I had been saying earlier was going to happen. This price is going to pull down. It's going to come back up more or less to this area here before it goes back up higher and towards where it is right now. So in terms of the general direction and movement of the price, I was right. And as we've been saying, and you can be right and it doesn't matter at all, right? Because it's gone. It's gone where it has, and it's history. It's in the past. So I can choose to feel bad about it. I can choose to yeah, to be a little butthurt about it, but I am not going to. I'm also going to be just watching to see what happens at these new highs as well, because if history is anything to go by, and this is where I'm looking back at what the most recent highs have been on the same chart, is a M15. You can see that the price has actually gone up here like this and hit a high, pushed a bit higher as well before it was pushed down. That happened here again as well. It actually hit a high. So that, first of all, the first high, then went a little higher and then pushed down. Hit a high, pushed down, pushed higher again, and then went down. So I'm not automatically inclined to want to try and sell this from this particular level. What I'm going to need to do is have a look at the details of the price movement within that small section there and see how much the price action resembles, if it does at all, what happened at the previous levels as well. So just for reference, that first new high and then a high after, and then it went down. That's the first one there. And the second one is that first high over here, then a new high, and then it went down. So that's what we are comparing against. And I don't really automatically see the same thing. So it's not quite the same thing. Although, if I get out of the way here, while it's not quite the same thing, I can see some similarity to this particular formation there. So I'm going to just remind myself that is what I'm dealing with there. And a reminder, of course, to myself that the line that's above that blue line that's just above that, which I think you can just barely make it out, right? This one here, this level here is derived from an H1 chart as well as an M15, so it may not be nothing. At the same time, we just have to see what the price does here. If it rejects, it's going to push down. If it does not reject, it is going to push up towards that yellow line, which is the higher price there. And I guess technically we are in the midst of being able to take a trade if we feel it's appropriate. Although currently, if I'm being honest, this is an expensive place to take a trade, right? And if I do get involved at this point, I want to do a buy, right? This is a high price because this is the possible downside on this particular trade as well, right? It's just the way the market's been moving. It's been going up, going down, going up, going down. So if I do take a trade here, if I do get into a buy, this would be a terrible time for it, right? Taking a sell at this point here could be okay because the market might push down from here, and if it does, it's going to be quite a nice nice trade from the side. So what I'm doing is I'm putting down a little position based on that possibility, right? What's most likely, and this is what we've been learning over time, is what's most likely is a continuation of trend, right? That's always the most natural thing for a market to want to do. It wants to continue on its way, and it may very well do this. So I'm not going to try to be too cheeky and build too much of a position on this here. But what I've done now is taken a little cheeky position like that, which may pay off with a bit of a pushback when this thing probably retraces a bit. So the retracement at some point has to happen. Whether or not it's going to happen right here, that's a bit hard to tell, because what I've seen so far is up here. We can see that there's a bit of action, right? I mean, the price has been pushing up, pushing up, but it's also been pushing down. And that's the only reason why I'm looking at this as any kind of possibility at all for a trade. Again, right from the edge. I've added on 0.02. So like I said, strong tendency to want to continue. That's always something that's there. Um, and so what I've done is just taken a share, a sell, but at very, very small risk. That's my idea on this. If I'm wrong, I shall be wrong very quickly. And I would say for a small price. There's no need to hang around and pay too much of a price to find out about this. This is what this trade is about. It's just it is just an opportunity taken from the edge of a range. The market's showing itself to be sort of like, pushing off the edge like that. So I'm gonna go, okay, I will take a position from the corner here and see what happens. And what I should do is also be very disciplined about this, saying that if the market does not push down and it does not become the trade that I hope it's going to become, which is a trade that goes below in this way, then I should actually just say, nope, I'm not getting what I want from this, so I should be out. So I'm going to watch this carefully. And again, all this is just a practice to minimize the damage if and when a trade goes the wrong way, right? So it does not mean zero losses, and does not have to mean zero losses. But yeah, you don't have to take all of it. Like if you do something where you have a stop loss that has been put in place, as soon as you see that your thesis is either threatened or wrong or has no basis, you can go, all right, I was wrong, and I'll take the money that's on the table off the table, right? So like right now, what's happening is there is a little bit of a push. I can see the movement coming up, and there is a bit of activity as well on the push down side as well. So there really is something happening in this particular phase. If the if the if the trade, what do you call that? The spread gets very big as well. It might just pop out and take out the stop as well, which it will be frustrating. I'm not going to lie. But for now, this is what's happening in terms of price. It is quite clear that some factor is causing the price, that ceiling, to be a very good ceiling for the price. And if it holds, it holds. At the same time, there is a little bit of a floor, like I said, that is still on this particular price range as well. And we'll see. If this trade does not push down and does not get past this price right now, then it may be just the wrong trade to consider. I always am reminded of that stupid. I can't remember whose joke it was, but basically, it's like I think it was Robin Williams saying like, you get desperate when you end up like two drug addicts trying to negotiate on a plastic spoon, and that happens sometimes when you trade yourself into a corner and you go like, how do I get back? How do I get back? How do I get back? And that's kind of the problem that I have with most of what I do. I'm always trying to fight my way out of something, and it's always arguable. It's not always arguable. It is arguable that there would be a better way of doing things so that you end up with a little bit less, personal damage, personal hurt, that kind of thing, personal exposure, right? I know I'm making it sound like a really bloody sort of thing, but it's not. It's just that I have this. Here we go. I'm gonna put that there. The strategy that we trade is not very heavily reliant on trend lines and stuff like that. And I'm putting this in place just as a kind of reference because you can see what has happened before in terms of how the price has come up, right? So the low from before, when this price came down here, it didn't really challenge this particular level. So I am not going to target that far down. That might be too ambitious. But I could target something a little bit more, doable. And I think what might be a very reasonable target to be going for is this level just about here. So to do that, where is that? That is roughly about here. So I want to put the price profit target somewhere around here. Another one over there. Well within this range here. That again, learning from before, right? It's approximately this 2 hour push down, this 2 hour push down like that. That's something again which is about the tempo of the market. So this one was 2 hours. This one took a little bit longer than 2 hours, right? But at the same time, you can also see how long the push up lasted for as well. So this is about 1 hour, almost exactly to the hour. And then this push up as well. This has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a bit more than 1 hour as it pushed up to this level as well. So the tempo of the market is quite established. Whether or not we can say that's exactly what we are going to take from the market, I certainly can't say so. But there is something to be said about when somebody is playing the big game, someone who's got the market maker, right? And they're not sitting in front of the computer like we are. This is not what they're doing. This is not the job that they have. What they have is a job of collecting orders from their big, clients who want to place orders for trades. They want to get certain things in certain ways. So your big player isn't going to be involved necessarily in the small trades like this, looking back and forth for positions, because they have different priorities, right? What they have a business priority sometimes for what they need to do. So, a car manufacturer, for instance, needs to export things to a third country. Well, this is not forex, but just for the purposes of this, they might take a position just to shore up their position in terms of the exchange rate. So, what would someone be doing in terms of gold as well? There are institutional investors, who are trying to secure the money of the clients, right? Because there's so much fluctuation going on right now in the market. If you are a big money manager, your job is not to do what I'm doing right now. You're not supposed to be trying to grow the account in 10% blocks every day. You are actually trying to grow your account consistently at maybe 0.5%, maybe in a week, so that you can compound that over a year and that actually becomes something that is very safe. And so what you would do is you'd blend a lot of things to try to shore up your position. And you might use gold as a bit of a hedge for some of your positions as well, because gold is where a lot of money goes to when there's uncertainty, right? So based on the market lately, and if you based on what's happening in the world, you'd imagine that there's a lot more uncertainty than what the market seems to be saying. So I've seen analyses where people have been talking about the stuff that's happening in gold and how that gold is the big place that where everything is going to push to. And I look at the price and I go like, well, that's not really what I'm seeing immediately in the charts, right? It does not mean that all that stuff isn't happening. It most definitely is happening, but it's not happening at the scale or the kind of speed that you might expect something to be to reflect that way, right? So, like for instance, if you look at this chart and you're trying to see exactly where um, the big uncertainties of the past few weeks have occurred, you you might have difficulty actually seeing it in the chart because it's going to be like, well, where I don't see where it would go and where the price is going. So if you think right now, for instance, in the last few days, right, there's all the talk about uncertainty and war and all that kind of stuff. The play should be for gold to climb, right? That's the way it's going to work. And the instinct that I have is that it's going to climb so fast and so quick, right? Because it feels like these are what the what things like war or things like that seem to indicate, right? You get occasional spikes like that very quickly when there's something that's completely that shocks the world in terms of an unexpected outcome. But you're not going to have the same thing happen when it's something which has already been factored in terms of what people think is possible or likely to happen, right? So what I see from this is that a lot of the financial markets have already factored in what's happening in terms of wars, bombings, and all that kind of stuff. Scarcity of oil and what have you. A lot of it's already been factored in, and what we're seeing right now is the price after all that's done, right? And then we see the. Oh my goodness, what are we doing here? No, you stay where you are. Right up there on the edge. Come on. Come on. Yep. Yep. Getting exactly what I deserve here. Let's see. Is it going anywhere? Still wants to go. I think it wants to go. And that's the kind of movement that comes out of this. Still hanging on. Just because it hasn't gone and kicked it off. This is one of those things. Irritatingly, it might be the start of it, might be the end of it. Who knows? So a bit of a comparison to myself before, right? This would never have been such a small position that I would take. Because right now this is a small position and it's not um, massively significant if anything happens as well. It's a case of the line's still kind of holding, but we'll see what the details are in the price. So prices are in that band, very, very tightly wound in that band there. we got right to the edge there, and this took out my stops earlier, so that's unfortunately what happened. Now I'm going to watch if the price comes down at all, if there's any kind of push down. If it does not, then it's not great for us. I'm trying to decide what I should do with these kinds of things where, you know, there's a kind of trade, a price movement that we're looking for, and if we enter the price and it doesn't quite give us the movement we're looking for immediately, what do we do? Do we stay in there? Um, again, because you know the math is right now, as in like in terms of the amount of risk on this particular trade, or do we just say no, not showing up the way I want it to right now, I should get out? So I think what I should do right now, based on what I see, is I should get out. This is not in the last few minutes not showing itself to be doing what I think it wants to, what I want it to do. Still pushing. What I should do is wait till the market's intention is clearer, which I'll have in about a second, I think. Nope, it's not clear. Ever so, it's right on the edge there. This is, yeah, it's just not clear what it wants to do. It's not really pushing down. It's not really pushing up as well. It's just on this little knife's edge. If this holds and it pushes down, those targets that I set for myself earlier, those are going to be quite good targets to still consider. What am I talking about? Well, these lines here up to this level. I'm just going to watch this a little bit more because I do want it to show some more conviction, as it were, to the downside. It needs to really just push it down a bit more, and then I'll stay in. If it doesn't, I think what I'll have to do is I'll wait for the next time something is a little bit more sure. Because right now, all I'm doing is I am recognizing there's a bit of a range that's formed, and I'm trying to take off the top of the range and the bottom of the range. And what I should be doing, if that's the trade that I am trading, is I should be getting out when it hits the bottom of the range, as it's about to do right now. So this is, if I'm being fair about it, this is actually where this trade should be until, as it goes down, clears that line, and then that should be the end of that. But what I am doing is pushing a little bit more, and on the off chance, again, I don't like the sound of it as I say it out loud, but on the off chance that this trade does actually push it down below this level, right? And then I'm well positioned. So what I'm going to do now is wait for this to get to the level, same level as before, and see whether it makes it down and pushes down, and if it manages to push down any further than this. If it does not, then maybe what we'll have to do is just take a little smaller, um, a smaller profit than if it could go anywhere else, right? That's the compromise right now. So it's not really coming all the way down, although it has, again, you know, in the smallest of patterns, you get that little thing there like that, and you go like, oh, okay, that looks very good. But it's the smallest pattern, and it's all in the 1 minute chart, so it doesn't count all that much. We've had that happen before, as you can see just a while ago, and nothing else, and it still went to a higher level. So this may well be it. So why areas like this are going to exist where there is like a price unsettled or the value unsettled is because that's where a bunch of stops and positions have been protected, right? So as the positions are getting a bit closer or pushing up against that, it's triggering all those stops, and that is going to influence the market as well. So as more of those dollars that were previously stuck in the trade, sort of, or those trade positions unwind, it affects the price as well. And the question now is whether or not this can come down anymore, because it looks like maybe what's happened is there is a there is a bottom price that has come higher. So in terms of, like, the pressure seems a little bit stronger from the buy side right now, because this hasn't gone down at all for a bit, and unless something shows up really quickly, chances are it will be challenging the high price again. So we may be getting out of this just to sit by the sidelines and wait again. Let's see if there's any kind of energy at all to push it down. I don't think it's going anywhere. No. At this point, this last minute, it's going to look like no sellers came in at all, but no buyers either. So people just waiting around to see what's going to happen. I feel I want to force my hand so that I don't actually end up losing any money at all. But if I bring it down that tight, that's going to be really a situation where it could go and it could just bounce up and then sort of say goodbye. Thanks for all. Thank you for being part of our game. Good game. Goodbye. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make that the case. I'm going to bring the stop loss right up here like that. And for me, what this is about is just about a little bit of discipline with the trade, as in, if the trade hasn't gone where I was hoping it would go and hasn't behaved that way, I should say it has not worked, and walk away with what I think is the best position on this at all, right? Which is some level of profit or no loss at least. So this has been pushing up, pushing down. If it does a little bit more of trending down, there's a very, very slight downtrend that is emerging on the 1 minute scale. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of, just a little bit of a trend. Very small signs of the trend in terms of it going down like that. And then there are all this, like all the lows are also going down like this. There's the ever so slightest of trends moving down, um, which makes me just say, okay, let's just see where this goes. And where I've moved the stop loss to right now is also on the assumption that this little mini trend continues, right? So if it does that, if it stays in there, great. If it doesn't, then we'll just have to come back to finding an opportunity sometime in the future. Seems to have more of you. Seems to have a few more people have joined the stream today. Um, yeah, thanks for being around. I'm really having a day where I'm having I won't say a crisis of confidence, but it's just really not gone as well as it could have, considering as well that I don't think I misread the market from before. I think I did read it quite correctly. Uh, but it's just one of those things where the market begins to do its twitchy thing, and that's what gold is about, right? It is a market that is quite twitchy. It moves around quite fast. And unfortunately, because of all that, I was thrown out of the positions that I kind of thought were the case. And this is what happened earlier, basically. So I was in on this position here, and I thought, okay, this is a good sign for a buy, and it was. It's actually a very good signal for a buy, right? And this is back on trend. The overall trend of it is still going up as well. So this position that I got in there for a buy seemed pretty viable, and where I positioned myself in terms of where the market was going to go actually is similar to where it is right now. So in terms of direction, in terms of placement, it was actually pretty good. But what happened was these things happen. The push back down like that, and it pushed back against the position and actually broke this level, which is what I had based the initial assumptions on. So that story kind of got busted up, right? Now, the thing that is frustrating about this is again how, in the midst of all this, the brain's bias needs to be adjusted as and when it happens, right? So the moment it breaks down, the bias goes to a sell. That's fair enough, right? But when it comes back up like this, especially here, when this thing happens here, it pushes back up like that. So this at this point, in and of itself, shouldn't be anything to consider yet, right? But when this happens, where it goes up, it pushes up like that, and then it does this, and then it does a retest. So this retest here, right, where it comes down, does a retest, and then comes back up like that. This is where I should have been in on a buy. This is where I should have been back in on the buy, back in on the story that I had before, because at this point, there's some very nice things happening here for this particular pattern. And this is review so that I can, get down on myself. The push down happened here. It came up to here, pushed down here, came back up to here, came down here, and pushed up to here, right? Now, maybe that doesn't seem like very much to anybody right now, but it is basically a reversed head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And not at an insignificant place as well, which is why it now has a bit of significance. But that is the situation that I should have been able to see. This is again about being cognizant and keeping your eyes open as it happens. And unfortunately, that's not what happened after the trade, right? So the trade has come out as it is. Taking a bit of hit today. Today's account has gone down by about no, I think it's more than $50 actually. This morning, what do we have? Yep, we're down. We're down from earlier today, the peak today. We're down about $75, right? That is not good. We're still ahead in terms of the pace to get to $1 million, but in terms of today's performance just by itself, it's not been great. And in terms of what I should be able to do as well, I just know that I can do better than this. And it's not that the conditions are not that they don't facilitate, that kind of success. Today's conditions are pretty okay. In fact, it's very good. It's not as choppy as it can sometimes be. So I should be doing better than this, and this is what's frustrating about the situation. And the thing is, once you get a bit of a trend going and something, it just begins to move, and you get to take a position based on that single movement. Things can get really good really fast, and that's kind of what I'm working on, right? So the good really fast and quite a bit of it. That's how the wins add up, right? So the losses can be small, but you can get around them. We've had a few in this hour already, which is not good. Again, like I said, not really proud about how this day has begun. Um, but at the same time, this is not done yet. There's all kinds of stuff to consider based on where the major lines are, the lines of support, based on the patterns that have shown up as well, like this high leading to this engulfing lower high as well. There is something in this. There's a little bit of energy, a little bit of a possibility in terms of where this could go. I am just going to update the numbers on the chart so that we can see where things are going. Yeah, so nothing decisive showing up there. And I might get just kicked out of this trade as well. Let's hope it stays in. Just gonna get kicked out. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so nothing decisive has happened. That last number just takes us to, we're actually just down a couple more cents, but let's leave that in. So what's likely to happen now, if this really doesn't push down, it's probably going to hit that next level there, the yellow line. It's going to work towards that. And currently, I don't have any distinctively strong signs that that is the push that's happening. Because, we have, again, like I said, we had these other signals that were in place to indicate that it's going to be pushing down as well. So don't know where to go with this. This might still very well push down, and if it does so decisively, then we know that it's probably going to probably going to push down, all the way to that support line from before, or that trend line from before. But for now, it's uncertain, and because it is completely uncertain, I'm just going to leave it as it is, right? It has not done any of the things that I thought it might do here. So, yep, that's all it is. Good news is, after all that, I've lost 12 cents. By the way, all these trades attract commissions as well from the broker. So You know, in terms of today, the people who've made the most money are the brokers from me. I'm trying to reduce the number of trades. I'm just trying to remember them to I'm trying to remind myself that I want to reduce the number of trades that I have done. But as I'm watching this right now, I want to just note where things are. The bigger the time frames, the more you see what's going on. If something clearly is happening, the more you'll see what's going on. And sometimes you just go, okay, there really isn't much you can derive from that. There's no clear movement right now at this level. At the start of this, you know, on the M30, on the H1, it is still powering along, moving up. On the M5s, not much has happened. That again on this level here, nothing has happened. The level hasn't been broken down, which is strong support. And if you look about what's happened here, push up like that and strong support. And seems to be more that is currently saying that we can be looking at a buy. So this is the engulfing that I see here. Over here, there is the breaking of that engulfing bear. So that's a push up there like that. Net feels like it's pushing up, but right now, again, like I said, it's just not really decisively moving anywhere. Yep. It's really compressing. There's no budging, man. It's not going anywhere. Can't go up there. It seems to be held down, but it is going up here, right? So that's coming to an impasse because they both can't be right. This is it. Going up, going up, going up, perhaps. Holding, 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 and then a little bit of a push down. Ah, man. I can't even call it an advantage because there are lines on both sides of it as well. These are all lines of significance from before, so we don't know. It's pushing through. We're gonna hold. All right. That's just moved it up a little bit. That argument now goes a bit higher up. Nothing to be done. Okay. Nothing happening for a while. Man. The widget seems to be saying that the bit rate for audio is a bit low. I'm not sure if you're getting it okay, if everything is fine. I'm not getting any feedback on it, so I guess that's essentially good news. It's creeping up, right? Price is creeping up, creeping up, creeping up. I think it has enough, potential for the market to go all the way up here as well. There's going to be a little bit of that. I think it's going to push up to there. That's my own feeling about that. And the case for it is the lows are getting higher and they're still pushing higher. So this is about looking for the trade where they may not be a trade to look or see. Lots and lots of positives. We just have to watch for the false positives. Look at to a smaller time frame, see if any kind of real patterns emerge. So things to consider are this, for me in this particular situation. The fact that you got this engulfing bull candle and then nothing happens. It doesn't continue going up. It pulls down and this pushes up like this against this level, breaks across there. And essentially nothing happens as well. So we've had two signals that are pushing or indicating a nice strong bull kind of a situation, two bullish signals, and that don't go anywhere immediately after that. So do we have a failure to launch going on here, as in like a lot of attempts to push higher, but for some reason they're being held down. Now that if that happens over and over and over again, this to me just kind of indicates that the sellers are not going to give up this position easily and for some reason. And it does not mean that they're going to win this forever, but it probably means that they're going to win this for a while. So let's have a look in terms of what the pattern it's been creating so far is. And it's not, I don't know whether you see this or not, but I see it as not dissimilar to what's happened here before as well as it got to a high. In the bigger picture, they're not too dissimilar. They're not twins either, but Hmm. 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 It's trying to do it. It's trying to get out there. It's just not able to escape. So the mini story, which I think if we talk about only the 5-minute shot, this green candle here overwhelmed this engulfing bear candle, and then there's this new sort of a high as well where there's an engulfing green candle that comes out of it. It's all a very small pattern, nothing really big pushing forward. Hmm. Now this is beginning to look really messy now. This is probably from watching a little bit too close to like watching TV right in front, right? Like you think you see some stuff and you don't know whether you're seeing the stuff. Anyway. And even if you're seeing the stuff, it may not be relevant. So oh goodness. This is a crowded little space here. See where this is just messy, 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 messy. And there's a little bit of a push up and it holds to the upside. And what I see, again, this is about how there is a big compression here, but there's a little bit push to the upside here. And the fact that it holds up above that makes me go like, okay, maybe something's happening, something's brewing. And now that this last, it was about to form what looked like a like a hammer, I think it's called. And it's, you know, where it pushes up and it's green and has a long tail. Almost. Yep. Not quite. So what's happening for me today right now, I'm noticing myself as well, is I am affected by the losses of earlier today as well, because in terms of confidence, in terms of wanting to make a move, I can feel that I'm probably more cautious than I usually would be. Um, I'd probably be in this trade by now under my normal circumstances, but because I'm not really sure what I want to do. There's also this thing about, you know, the without the pullback, and this is the thing that I'm having to remember all the time. And what the pullback is essentially is the price needs to move, and not at the smallest of scales, not on the M1 chart like you're watching it, or maybe on the M5 chart. What really has to happen is the price needs to move like that, and then it needs to pull back before we want to get back into it so we can take the ride up with it. And that is something that is, it's a bit challenging to say, you know, you have to wait for that, especially when you see the opportunity sort of blooming at this current time. But objectively, that was really very messy back here. So this is why we weren't getting into it. It's because of all the messiness of it. There is no real direction on it. There's a little hint about where it's going to go up like that, but we have no real um, clarity on that, at least up to this point, right? So there's a little bit of a push up, pull up, and there's a higher high like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to wait for an opportunity. And this might come in a pullback right now, as in like there is a movement now on the upside, right? But what we want to do is we want to look for an opportunity that is going to be a good price, so to speak, right? So the good price means buying as low as possible. We're waiting for the price to come back down to us so that we can buy it up. Um, and the sense is always going to be that it's not going to come back right now, especially since we've been waiting for as long as we have, right? This is what is probably going to be going through most people's minds, right? Because if you think about how long all of this has, you know, basically if you look at all this, how long has all that been, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17, 18. That's a good 4 to 4.5 hours worth of waiting for the price to make it, well, you know, make a big change. And well, it hasn't. And so when it begins to make a move, just a little bit of a move, that sense of wanting to catch it is just going to be so strong. But there's no real clean movement of the price currently. It's just this messy movement. So now this is beginning to look a little cleaner, right? It's had at least this little push here, which is nice and clean. Now we want to see if we can get a nice pullback that doesn't break below that line. And if it does, we might have an opportunity for a small trade. just reminding myself of the rules about trades having to be off of the major lines, that they have to be in trend, right? So trend up, definitely. Also trending up. Also trending up on the fives. Trending up. Okay, that was a new 5 candle, by the way. Yep. On the fives, but how to get in on this? Right on top. On the ones, let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Just keeping an eye on what this looks like on the higher time frame. So what I'm seeing is, constantly this has been pushing. This has come back right now. It seems to be forming this as well. Just gonna see what the level of risk is. Really small. Hmm. Let's see what the previous level was. 15. Where do we have that line? The line. Let's see where this resolves in relation to that line. Colonel Akbar. I can't remember the name of that character on Star Wars, the one that goes, "It's a trap." Oh, Hmm. Now what do we do? Hmm. Let's watch in detail what happens to the price. Does it go down, push up, keep going? More do we have? I'll push up like this. Let me have a look and see. Oh man, what time is it now? It's 5 o'clock. Okay. Hmm. See what's happening here. Mm. 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 Do this, man. So this looks like a big pullback that's happening. I think it's still. I think that the buy is still a valid proposition, as is what we're looking for. Right now, what we're doing is we've had the breakout from before this. So here's where the breakout's gone. And now what it's doing is it's doing a bit of a pullback. Question is whether or not it stays within the structure so that it still follows, it still keeps us in a structure of a buy. So the bull market has to be about the higher lows, and we'll see where it ends up going. Does it go here? Does it go all the way down? Does it bounce up? We don't know. This yellow line that I have put, this horizontal line that I put here, that corresponds to the H1 level, as in where the price changed inside of H1. This is a bit earlier, like here. You can see that the price influenced the way the market moved as well here. You can see that the flip over the hours happened exactly on the same price. So not really a coincidence. You can see that line is pretty significant for this particular situation. And the last time the price came here, it actually pushed up to the upside. So as it gets close, this is where we kind of have to look at where it goes, where the price is going to go once it gets to the same, once we might call it the zone of influence. And a number of good reasons in my mind why this area is significant or should be significant, this line. It's because it's close to, it actually is pretty close to the, yeah, it's almost bang on to a round number. It's a 3340. In fact, what I'll do is I'm gonna bang it up 3340. Move it up slightly. And why a line? Why a number like that is kind of a good thing is because it's a round number, nice round number, which corresponds to some price changes in the past as well. So that's not insignificant. And the fact that it's been respected on several um, past situations or in several past situations is something that we should just continue to keep in mind as well. So it basically means it has influence, right? So this price has influence. And we're about to get to it right now. And we're going to see where this price goes, if it goes anywhere at this particular point, where the change in direction um, is quite a possibility, right? It's also not the only possibility, just to be sure. You gotta look at other opportunities too, right? But currently, if we're looking at just the H1s, yep, that's the only only big one we can kind of see. Everything else seems to be way back down on the trend line, which is not all bad. Mhm. So to me, this is what we're looking at here, as in like either there will be some action here as it gets to this price. That's going to take us back into the bull, take us back into the buy side, right? If it holds, um, or if it does not, then we're going to see it go probably down to where the previous or where the trend line actually is from earlier. So that's something that we can see as the possibilities here. But for now, this price that's coming down or was getting close to that level 3340, it may let's see what it looks like in detail, right? Because does it just like come down zigzag, touch and go, or is it gonna start turning around slowly? Sometimes we see that as almost a crescent turn. It's more likely and most likely every time you see something like that, it'll be a big flip. And the one thing that is what I found to be the case usually is that if there's a price of significance and the price seems to be heading in that direction, just assume that it's going to reach that level, right? It's just something about targets. Whenever people are trading, they have targets, and where they kind of put those targets or where they situate those targets tend to be a number of things. One is round numbers. Okay, it's not always the rule, but I would say a lot of big trades are probably targeted around nice round numbers, simply because it's it's a very abstract kind of thing for someone to say, I am going to buy I'm going to buy X amount of gold, or how much, how many $1 million worth of stuff. But the price I want is 3341 and 50 cents. So it's not likely that that's the kind of accuracy and specificity you're going to get from someone trying to trade gold. What you're probably going to get is somewhere along the lines of give me the best price I can get for gold at around the 3340 area, or 3350 area, actually, if you think about big money, right? And yeah, I've got a budget of $20 million. So that's the kind of thing you're going to be looking at when you're dealing with a budget of $20 million and you want to get the order in. It's not going to be specifically on this one price or number. It's going to be probably a number of prices and probably around the same stop And, you know, that's why those big numbers are so important, because markets can change around them. If someone's putting in an order and every time it's coming down to that price, that order kicks in, right? And it's a big order, not fulfilling the entire order at once, but it's because it's in several parts. Comes down, hits the order, comes down, hits the order. What you're going to find is the market's going to bounce away from that because of the size of that order. You've actually changed the outcome, and this is what it is for market makers. So that's why, again, why prices tend to react to nice round numbers. If you look back in the past as well, you can see something sort of similar happened on the way up. So the price had come up like that, and then just been pulled back before it went up, but it did pull back almost exactly on that price. And now we wait. Mm. So what I'm really going to have to try to do right now is think about how I can multitask on video production, and not editing, because that's going to be one part of it, but actually I'm thinking about how I should do something so that I can use what I'm doing now and create some video content that I could use for my social media in general, just promotions in general. So it's a push down. Will it confirm and break through? Let's see. So just to state the position right now is now would be a bad time to sell, simply because of the premium, right? The price has already come down so far. Selling now would be, even if it's going down, even if you know where it's going, it's just too expensive. You've already had that much of a change in the price, so not really cool to try and do that particular deal. But what would work is a buy. So if there's a good position, a buy that shows up from around here, we would be interested. The only thing is right now, the line that is formed for the price is actually a little bit below the line. So it's maybe gonna catch on below that price, but we've got to sit on the hands and see what happens. Ugh, excuse me. And the challenge is just not to be so trigger happy about it because something is sort of in the right area, right? So right now, because the price is in an area which would be of interest to us, the challenge is not to pull the trigger before there's a good confirmation of it. And what would be a nice confirmation would be a nice engulfing or big push up by the price decisively at this point. Currently, there is no sign at all of a change in direction, right? So this is very important in terms of looking at the space behind there. There's just really no movement that is saying it's going back to a buy situation. Right now, it's still a sell. Everything's still a sell, but it's not a good time to sell because it is so low down in that pricing range. Okay. It's like someone is listening to, and I know they're not, but I'd say it's like someone is listening to this particular stream, hearing that I'm seeing this thing where there's nothing to show any signs of a buy, and they go like, well, what about now? What about now? So if the intention of the people who are controlling the market right now is to do a sell, this is kind of what they would do, right? Not push the price too far down, a little bit of buying back. There's a lot of buying back action going in here, but it's at limited numbers, so that you have this, like you have this continuing growth that happens over a few minutes. This is about 20 odd minutes of this already, right? And we've seen it before as well. The price has been pushing up like that, and then it gets twisted and it goes down and goes all the way down. So we're going to watch this and see where that goes. I have a feeling it's not going to make it all the way. And let me see. Again, we don't get the satisfaction of a strong signal. Some would argue another red arrow is quite a strong signal. We'll see. If it does form up as another red arrow, great. If it forms an engulfing green arrow on the 5-minute chart, that would also be something that we could maybe consider. But for now, still nothing. Ooh. A little bit of that. That's not too bad. I don't hate this. M15. Let me see. Yep. It's looking promising. Okay, do we take a cheeky trade from there? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a cheeky trade from there. See if we manage to catch that one. $351. So that's the sound of me piling on just another couple of dollars of risk. Again, it's always about this story, right? The story that we're buying into says that it's going to be moving in this direction, then we are going to be putting our money where our mouth is. At least what I'm doing is doing that. There is no clear cut indication of the reversal in the trend right now yet. I mean, there's initial signs of that. And what happens beyond here, we'll see. But I'd love to report something good happening at the end of all this. Here we go. Whoa. Oops. Uh-oh. Nope. See, come on. Wee little trades there right at the edge. Sometimes that's what happens. It just spills past a little bit before it gets caught up in the intention of the market there. Will that be happening this time? I don't know. I only ever do this if it's right at the edge where the price, has been before, and whether or not it has any chance of holding, we'll see. It may well be that it's not going to hold. So this is looking like it's collapsing. Let's see. Push. Let me see. Let's see what you got. By the way, I'm not really happy about this trade yet because it seems like a very unstable place for the trade to happen. But because the price didn't fly, it didn't push down hard. It seemed to not really go. It has that potential for me that it might work. All while this is happening. So a bit of a push up, as you can see. Little try by the price, but still gets pushed down again. So it's really struggling to get its hold. it might mean that there will be a better time to try this and might not be now. Right? Looks like it's gonna try and hold the line. Let me see. So what I do here is kind of managing for luck. There's a little bit of intel in terms of like we see what this line is about. This line means something to this market, so there's going to be stuff that's happening there. But at the same time, you also have to kind of yeah, at the same time you kind of have to manage for luck. Now, what does that mean for me? Um, that means just being sort of in the right place at the right time. Sometimes there's an opportunity there. If you are going to take those opportunities, you have to kind of do it based on what is happening there. So in this particular case, the price pushed below a certain line that we were interested in terms of price. It pushed below there, but it didn't really push and then keep going. So based on that, I thought I could maybe try and take a position again with very, very little risk. So this position that I have right now, just to give you a sense of that, some of the risks that is there is less than 50. It's 60 cents, 70 cents, and 80 cents, as respectively. So that's the size of the risk that's there. And I only did that because I thought, okay, this looks like it might be pushing out there, but it really didn't have the conviction of its, it didn't really have that force in it. So I thought I'd try it, and it's kind of paid off on this occasion. And the challenge for me is to do this really at a scale that is going to not damage the account, right? So this sort of thing, again, total risk here was about $3. Total risk, right? To take a position that is essentially three 0.02 to 0.02 lots, which is really, really insignificant. Um, why I'm not taking a bigger risk with things right now is it's to do with basically what happened today. Like so earlier on today, not really having a great day with the trades. So that has made me a little gun shy. So as a result of that, I am perhaps not as gung ho as I might be usually. And right now, after everything, it looks a little better. So that was kind of exciting. Let's see what we got here for time. It's 5:40 and things look pretty okay. So even though you're just dropping in every now and then, it's kind of good if you would just drop a like or subscribe to it so that you know when something is coming up. And if you knowing that you're here, it's gonna again help me to try to keep myself honest. Earlier today we've already seen this account lose how much money now? Yeah, it's come down from the low today or the higher today of four. We had 525 for the high today, right? So this has come back down at this current point. It's about 75, maybe a bit more, almost $80 worth of a drawdown for today, which does kind of I mean, look, I feel trouble about that. It's not really great. It's still ahead of the curve in terms of what it should be for this time in a in a bid to make the compounded gains that we need to make to get to $1 million in 100 days. So we're ahead of schedule still, but I can't keep doing it like this and pushing back like this. It's all about the compounding effect of it. So let's see whether we can stay on pace. I need to push forward. I would do want to end the day today in a place where at least we come back to the level we were starting the day at. So that's plus 75 for now. What would be even better is we can push ourselves to the next level and get ahead of this with a well, the number for me that'd be great for this hour would be if we get ourselves to what 575 about 575 or $600. If we can get to that, that would be fantastic. I don't think this is going to happen on this particular occasion because we do really well just with these trades. It's going to get us to about $60 on this part of the journey. The price that I had specified as where this price could go, it's that yellow line up there, and if we set that as a target for ourselves, that could be interesting. It would be kind of breaking even, I guess. 3352, 3353. Where is the price? Where are our goals? We'll see. Maybe premature to think that things are sort of looking in the right direction as well, because we've seen in the past that even when things seem to be heading the right direction, the broader market forces come into play. So I'm going to just keep my eye on this because this looks really good. This looks like a strong kind of consolidation to say that we're back in the buy territory. But we saw that earlier today already, where that hadn't panned out quite the same way. So this looked very much like buy territory already, but then it was pushed down and broken down. This was very much into buy territory, and then it got pushed down as well. So I don't think I can take anything for granted right now. We'll be watching, always watching. There you go. Okay, so I think we're getting tossed out, are we? We'll see. It's either a retest, which means it comes down, it tries, and then it goes back up. I like all that. Or it's going to be just basically a continuation of the downward trend, and then that basically means that we're out of this trade. Hmm. Yum, yum, yum. This looks like a retest. Looks quite like a retest. I'm still ready to I've got my finger on the button to get out of the trade. Well, this is holding a little bit too steady for a retest. That should come down and then go really quick, but this is coming down and then going like, oh, I don't know. It's loitering at this particular point. Loitering not as attractive as a retest. Retest is just coming down, touch and go, and it's like it's done. This is like, it's like it's hanging around trying to get a bribe. Not that I have any experience in that area, but okay, maybe not a bribe, maybe a tip. Waiting for a tip. You're like, yeah. Is everything good, sir? Yes. Good. Will you be staying with us for long? You know all those questions that follow up when you don't get it, you don't get the hint at the first time. I must say it's not a big thing in Singapore. Singapore is really a place where I don't think tips are expected at all, and it's become I think it's a relatively easy process to get through sales and service in Singapore without any kind of expectation of tips. Um, but I think it's kind of nice as well because if you don't have to tip people, then you don't. It's almost that you can rely on the fact that people are doing things just because, right? And with no expectation of tips or no requirement for tips. And what you can do, despite all that, is you can still tip, right? Even though there's no requirement or need to, you can drop in a little bit of an extra gratuity if that is something you feel was earned, and no harm in that. So let's have a look. Okay, I'm being set on a little bit of a task right now, family errand. So I need to go outside, pop outside, see what's happening, and then I'll be right back. Okay. What I'm doing is just moving everything up into profit, and this is just ridiculous profit. It's about 50 cents, so no big deal. But I'm just gonna have to pop outside for just a moment, so give me a moment. Let's see. Be right back. And Okay, right back. So things seem to be on track here. This is a good sign. This being a bit higher up here now is actually a very good sign for the trade. Thus far, push down, push up, retest. It's a higher low, so this is a good sign for us. Like that. Whether this is a signal that's going to, you know, be universal enough to take us all the way up to here, we'll see. And will it take us all the way to where I want to go, which is actually the previous high from some time ago? That remains to be seen. So that is what this looks like currently now. So you can see how in this in when you look at the small bits, it can seem like a lot, but you may not actually get. Okay. So I don't want to jinx it. That's always followed with a thing you shouldn't say, right? But anyway, so this here followed by the bigger engulfing candle as a pair, supposed to be really good. Plus you have this kind of a retest candle that comes back and then pushes off like that. All of it's supposed to be really good, and all of that together um, should be the basis of saying double chop confirm, as they say, right? Um, but you can never really tell in trading. All you can do always is about what you can do is you can position. You can say, okay, this looks like a good setup. That's what we'll do, and then the position is in place. So there's basically three itsy bitsy trades that are in place right now that are sort of taking a ride. And if a really good setup comes along, to add on to this position, maybe we'll do that. What I want to do is try to do that without risking the profits that are sort of already in hand. And so what that means is I'm going to try to add on positions without exposing ourselves to losses, because there's no point losing, and I mean, getting into a position and then you wind up from actually being, you know modestly in a bit of profit into losses. So unless the opportunity really really becomes quite attractive, we may not be able to get in there and take advantage of it. So this is what I'm looking at currently. Oh, I forgot to do something else, which is only going to be possible today. So I need to take care of this. This is music. Okay. So here is what I need to do for now. I need to do some editing. Hang on. What I want to do. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that's probably not going to work out now. Looks like it might be the end of our journey together on this particular, you know, endeavor. Are we going to get in there? Is it going to tantalizingly just leave me with one small position? No, gone. Okay. So that is that. That really kind of says that the price probably is going to go down as well. It's just one of those things, right? Is it? Oh, man, come on. Surely we're going to have a less frustrating day than this. 148. Oh, man. This whole thing here is kind of where I think a betting man would probably say it's a good place to try and take a buy and keep a buy. But what I really have to be careful about is what the market seems to be doing, right? Because it's supposed to be doing that, but it isn't quite doing that. As in, like, it's going here this way, it's gone up to a higher level, and then what it did is it tried to come up, but it didn't make it to a higher level and actually went down. So what this is actually a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, right? Which should be the grounds for looking at a continuation, because the way it's positioned right now with this head and shoulders, it should actually lead to the price going down. Now I have to look at the corollary as well, look at the opposite of this, and say if that's something that is I can see this seems to be pushing up, pushing up, and there's a little bit of that going on as well. So you have to take in both stories, right? um Head and shoulders, which is not insignificant, but also at the same time the rising um, lows like that. So where is it going to go? That depends whether it stays below the line or not. So if this stays below here and keeps pushing down, we have maybe the case for something to happen. Actually, what we have is nothing much that's very clear. So if I look at it this way now, back into the M15s, and just as a new candles formed as well, I'm really not getting anything. And I should try not to squeeze out anything that isn't actually there. So like this currently does look a little bit like it's been trying and trying and trying. It keeps coming up. It keeps, like in terms of what it looked like during the formation, it looked like it was really forming up something serious, and it just hasn't seemed to be able to pull off what its promise has been, right? So if you look at this particular pattern here, this is a bullish signal. This higher set of lows is also supposed to be a bullish signal, but with that much going on, it still hasn't gone. So it's a really hesitant big series of bullish signals, which to me, when you have that many signals that are all supposed to be on the bullish side of things and nothing bullish happens, I think we have cause to believe that the opposite's going to happen. right? So that's where I am on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little position that is to that effect. So many of these bullish signs and then nothing happening. I really almost feel that there is something that's interfering with that. As in, I guess all the signs show up, and yet it's not able to break through. I'm not going to be able to stay on the stream though to take part in these trades. I don't think. I can't continue to trade today, so I'm going to have to call it a day just a while. Yeah, this is frustrating. There's so many of these bullish signals here. It's just, and it's not going anywhere. That's just really frustrating. It's like there's something holding it back, you know, just artificially. Again, you seeing that one more time? Hey, you see, just not, just doesn't have the power to go through. Hmm. Okay. Inconclusive. Ah, no. I don't know whether I can declare a series of sales signals suspicious. Yep. Totally mixed signals. So I am not gonna try and decipher that. It looks like it ain't gonna happen. Here we go. Yep. Okay. So 605. Inconclusive. Everything wants to go up, but isn't going up. What am I gonna do with this? This is really uncool. Okay. All right. Nothing much happening. Okay. Yeah. On a different day, I'd be taking a risk. On a different day, I would be doing a buy right now, and I think I've done enough of that today already, where I am trying to just extract some value from what is essentially a stall in the market. And we seem to have had quite a few of those situations today, enough of them to go around. And what I'm going to remind myself is that I don't need to take every single one of these. I don't have to. I don't have to win every day. I don't have to take something back from the market each time. Although the last time I took $2 back, yay, woohoo! So yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate. I am gonna have to, I think, close it as it is right now, and I don't think I have much time for the rest of the day to do any more trading. So this might be the end of today's session. With the result that it is, which is again a few more dollars that have been lost. Where are we at here? This really, really, really really isn't done. It's not pushing down harder, really. So it's not really pushing down harder. And it's not going up higher as well. We have a range. So what are we doing? Let us try. Let's see it push down a little bit and see if it catches. So on the verge of doing something silly. Actually, anything I do right now, I have to say, is just going to be silly. So I'm just not going to do that anymore. So, okay, yep. All right, done, finish. Yep, that is the end of it. Nothing much to say is going to happen, or nothing anyway is seems to be happening right now in this particular part of the market. It's not that I'm not seeing anything. I just don't know whether there's enough there. So that is the thing. There's a buy. Is there a buy? No. Okay. Like I said, everything I do right now is going to be a silly thing. So I'm gonna not do that. Thank you very much for being with me, and we'll catch you in the next one. Here we go.